Okay, yes. So my name is Heikki Laaninen. I'm managing director on the Fifth Wave Brands. We are licensing and brand development agency founded by some ex-Rovio people. Now I can see some familiar faces here as well, some ex-colleagues. I used to work in Rovio. I joined something like 2011, about the same time, maybe a bit later than Maria over here. And left end of August last year to found Fifth Wave Brands. So basically we are working with mobile game studios, and we are helping them with consumer products licensing and brand development. So for example, we are working with the Wingersoft guys from Kempele. We are working with Frogmind, so doing lots of things with Badland, really great guys as well. And then actually, I think me and Verja, we see one client from Stockholm, which is funny. Mac Interactive, they got this Russell game, and they are gonna release something new quite soon as well. I'm gonna be talking about licensing. All my examples are not game related, so sorry about that. You can throw me some whatever you want. And I also know that there are some people who know quite a lot about the topic, so please don't be silent. And just, if you got something to say, please do so. And actually, I think Grand Crew guys have seen something of this before as well. So licensing. I always start my story with this picture. I took this one from Brooklyn, like during the last summer. I was kind of stupid tourist over there because I misread the price tag. I thought I can get one Star Wars figurine for 10 cents, and I had like around 20 of those on my hands. And the guy who was selling those said, "Okay, it's $200." And I was like, "What the fuck?" Because, well, I think like, why did I misread it? It's all about that's so old, that stuff. It's like from 78 or to 84 Star Wars figurines. It can't cost that much. And I was kind of arguing with that guy that how can these figurines, how can they cost this much? Is somebody actually buying these? And he basically said that yeah, fans are, and he could even ask more if he would like to. So this is kind of, I always, when I talk about licensing, I introduce the topic with this picture, because I think Star Wars is a really good example when we talk entertainment licensing. They've done really well. They've done really cool things, and it's still like fans still love that stuff. It's kind of classic. So the reasons how I see it. I think some people might have different opinions, but I kind of always feel that if you want to do licensing, you always need to start why. Why would you want to do that? I think the first answer is awareness, and then lifespan, and then revenues. Entertainment companies or entertainment brand are quite many other brands as well. They use licensing to build awareness for their brand. Especially today, when the kind of life cycles of the properties, they're getting so short, you just need that. Of course, with awareness, you can increase the lifespan. And with lifespan and awareness together, you can actually generate some revenues in the end. This is what it's all about. You got something, you got brand, you got whatever you want to call it. I suppose some people call things brands, and then you got something around it. Some smarter people than I would probably talk some brand equity stuff or something like that. I just say awareness. You got something you call brand. Who knows it? Who's actually interested about it? And this my next example. Sorry, it's not game related because I was talking in Tekes 2 weeks ago, and they actually asked me to. Can you think some example that these old folks in Tekes they could understand, that they could actually relate? And they asked something car related. I don't know why. This sounded so stupid. So my example of licensing, you got a brand, You got somebody knows about it, then you can use the awareness. You can leverage to awareness to do some things. So after that Tekes example, I've been using Ferrari, which is a bit funny, but I'm gonna talk about games as well. This has been my favorite topic like during the last 6 months, because after we left Rovio, and of course there's so many companies that reach out to us that hey, we want to do consumer products license, we want to do license, we want to understand licensing. And then when you look at the mobile space, you look at the social media, you got to look at all the viral stuff going on. There's no sense for everybody to think licensing. And I always talk about trends, brands, and classics, or you could even call those trends fads if you want. For example, Gangnam Style. These kind of pictures, these are from Google Trends. I kind of like to use those because, well, it tells something about the interest. Are people interested in something? Now you could ask me why the hell did I pick Gangnam Style there, because I'm supposed to talk mobile games. Yes, well, I could put Flappy Bird there easily. I could even put Clumsy Ninja there. And I hate to say that because I really love that game. You could really put it there because it came out of nowhere. Nobody knew about it. Suddenly, overnight, almost everybody knows about it. Everybody's hyping around it. And then what happens? Basically, it goes away, more or less. It didn't exactly, like in case of Clumsy Ninja, it didn't exactly go away, but something like that happened. So that's why I took Gangnam Style or something like that, because if you think mobile, or this is my perspective, when I look at the mobile games, what is the difference between Gangnam Style or Flappy Bird? Those all are kind of viral sensations. And okay, Flappy Bird, that guy, he took the application out. Yeah, it wasn't a marketing trick. I can say it for sure. Sure, but it could have been really, really great marketing thing if he could bring it back right now. But this is what I call fads kind of things. If you want to do things around this kind of properties, you need to react really fast, and unfortunately, people normally can't. So not much sense to do licensing, and if you want to do licensing, you need to treat it completely different way than you could take, for example, this example. The reason I got Doodle Jump here, everybody probably knows the property, is that I've been talking quite a lot with the guy who's running the Doodle Jump licensing. They're actually running a huge licensing program out during this summer. They want to get brand back because they see it's dying, more or less. They got lots of co-branding collaboration, really cool ones, like really hot properties that they're collaborating with. And they're also rolling out lots of licensed products, especially in US and UK, because they see that okay, their brand is going down. They want to do things. They want to increase the awareness. They want to. They don't want their brand to die, more or less. I met this guy like in New York a couple of weeks back, and we had like really good conversation about like licensing and mobile games and all that kind of stuff. And he says, hey, I know I'm late. I should have done this. They should have done this thing like when they were hot, more or less. But they didn't, because it's a decision. You don't need to license. There's like no reason you actually need to license, unless you really think it through. But now they finally, hey, we see that our brand is going down. People are not that interested anymore. Why we want to do something? So they got some really cool things coming. I really hope they succeed, because when it comes to mobile games, there's been so many failures after Angry Birds on retail. Because everybody saw Angry Birds, hey, we can kind of monetize this thing out, and there were like Cut the Rope and some other games that didn't really work at all, and that's why it's really difficult to actually sell or get licensed properties in retail in US, for example. Minecraft, they're doing really great, but they're also really smart about it. Some people say they are not. But that's my example of Doodle Jump. And it's also like really interesting property in a way that it was launched about the same time than Angry Birds. And it was two completely different companies doing things completely different way. And I think the outcome is also like, it's been different for those companies. And then I could talk classics. Well, Star Wars, again, it's not probably too fair to compare the Gangnam Style, Doodle Jump and Star Wars, but the thing is that I'm actually not comparing these. I'm just showing you some examples. With my parents, we talk lots with mobile game studios, but that's actually not all. We also talk lots with animation studios because there's such a great content creation coming from Finland. There's so much happening, not just in the mobile space, but also on the animation side and all that kind of stuff. And it's always like, you don't want to create fads, probably, unless you really, unless it's on purpose, but you never know it. You probably want to create something that's gonna last a bit longer, maybe like 10 years to 20 years, maybe even more. But I'm always taking Star Wars as an example because these days it's not that easy anymore, to be completely honest, at least from my opinion. You can see it with Doodle Jump, you can see it with Gangnam Style, you can see it Flappy Bird. You release a game, yes. If that game gets like 2, 3, 4 years, it's doing really well. But if it gets here, it's really like new content. It rarely gets to be something like Star Wars or some other classics that came before the kind of mobile phones or any kind of digital channels. So I suppose the main question, that's why we always talk with, for example, with our clients. It's all about how to sustain interest. Of course, licensing is not the only tool there. It's just a part of it. And especially if you see yourself as an entertainment brand, it's again like you don't need to see yourself as an entertainment brand. I think it's a decision. You can, for example, myself as a gamer, I don't consume entertainment brands. I play cool games. But some people, especially if you wanna in a global level, you really wanna break it, really wanna do cool things. Sometimes you need to start thinking yourself as a brand or entertainment brand, especially with mobile games, because gaming is so socially acceptable these days. My girlfriend, she loves Candy Crush. I hate that game. I'd never play that game. It's all right. I know Candy Crush, for example, they're doing really cool things with licensing these days, but they are targeting the audience that are actually their players. Myself, playing completely different games. Not even too many mobile games, some other stuff as well. But it's always a question, are you releasing a game or are you working to release something bigger? It doesn't have to be entertainment brand. You don't need to see yourself as a brand. But if you do, then you need to think some other things as well than just releasing a game. It's all about how you're gonna sustain that game. And I see licensing is just one thing there. You're releasing a game, I always say to mobile game studios that don't think licensing before you've actually launched anything, because it doesn't make too much sense. But I'll get to that bit later. So you got the game, you got content roadmaps, you got everything online. You're actually keeping the fans engaged. You are bringing new cool stuff. You actually launching the game is actually just the first part of it. Then you're okay, we got game out, people love it, let's do some new content, all that kind of stuff. Some games are gonna be a bit more social than others. Like Badland, they got a really nice content roadmap. They're really focusing on working with that game for next 3 to 4 years, because they know that if they can keep people playing, they can do things. And the thing is that they are not really they are not thinking too much of licensing or anything like that. We are trying to bring them some ideas. Hey, you could do this, and your fans would probably love it. And then they are open. But just if you see yourself as an entertainment brand, if you are launching an entertainment brand, then you need to think also some other stuff. Like what Merja was probably talking earlier, some social media and PR, they are like really important, because if you're working in a long-term brand development, you need to think those things, like headlines and stuff. This is also one thing. I was talking about fads or trends or anything like that, but if you're working to build an entertainment brand, especially with licensing, you shouldn't think too much money, to be completely honest. You should think like design, creativity, like those kind of things, like how you can bring value for your fans. And if you can actually make your fans happy, then in the end you're probably gonna make some money as well. But if you focus on the license side, okay, yeah, cool, we're gonna get rich, in a short term, then it's probably gonna destroy at least some parts of your brand. So this is kind of my message to all companies or people or whoever who's interested in licensing. Licensing is not about selling your brand. It's actually borrowing the awareness of your brand so that some other companies can do things with it. So it's all about brand management. It's all about like I'm giving somebody rights to use my brand. You need to manage what you want those guys to actually do with your brand. What are the things that you want to participate? And yeah, well, some people say brand management is like really hard. I think it's quite simple in the end. It's all about like understanding who you are and who you are not, more or less. And when you think this on the licensing context, it means that okay, we got this cool game for this kind of people. So we wanna do things for this kind of people, nothing else. So for example, with Badland guys, we know the target demographics. They are young adults, teens. What we are doing in US, we are talking with Hot Topic, for example, to get some t-shirts, some accessories kind of stuff out. We are talking with some toy companies to bring some like cool collectibles, because that character actually got lots of variations. You can do cool stuff. We talking some companies that do more art-related things, because the Badland looks so great that we want to leverage that. So, but we are not talking to candy manufacturers. We are not talking to people who make whatever, coffee, shoes. So we are like really thinking that who are the players, who are actually playing the game. What should we do for these guys? And really like what kind of place they want to shop are these kind of things. So I think brand management is about understanding who you are, who your players are, and what you want to do for those guys. This next slide is also for Tekes, so I don't actually read Marketunista at all, but I kind of found this. It's about the drill that started marketing itself as a lifestyle brand, and then it lost all its customers. But it's a nice joke again with when you think on the gaming context, because you want to. Okay.
Goes really well with our lawnmower. Yeah.
But the thing is again that you really need to think who you are and who your players are, and do things for those guys. And if you wanna do some other stuff for some other people, please feel free. But also be prepared that your players might be a bit confused. Why are you actually doing this stuff? So I always say that you don't need to please everyone. I think it's perfectly fine. If somebody hates you, that's fine, as long as you are doing things for the right audience. It's again like with mobile game brands, especially because everybody got phones and stuff like that. It's so easy to say that when I ask some game companies, okay, so who you making games? Yeah. Well, everybody who got this, I think that's not the case. You actually got some target audience, probably, who's gonna be playing. And if you don't know that, well, I think there might be some difficulties coming, or not. It might go really well.
Would you make a distinction there that you target your design to cater for everyone, but your marketing and marketing you make more targeted towards some target audiences?
It could go like that. Let's say like you got some universal kind of looking game that could actually everybody could play it. But then again, let's say okay, hill climb racing. We are working with those guys quite heavily. I think who has played hill climb racing? Okay, all of you. Who would buy hill climb racing T-shirt? Just one guy only.
I might go for a child.
You could for your kid.
Child,
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's really good example. Everybody can play the game. I actually got the game here. I really like the game. But when you talk about licensing, when we talk about the core audience for the players, we are not making products for you guys. We are making products for young kids. So, and that's also like we are increasing the awareness among the young kids. It's actually like perfect example because does somebody got kids? Do you have kids? Okay. Basically, you play the game, you know the brand, you would probably buy some products for your kids.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I actually picked that example. So basically, that's a like perfect match. Everybody, you know the property, but basically, you might even play the game. We actually got some cool stuff coming. Yeah, well, yeah. What was I saying? But my point, that's a really good question because in the end, like you really need to think like when you think entertainment brands, entertainment licensing, most likely you are making products for somebody else than adults. You're making those products for kids. And if you try to make products for adults, okay, so again, it's like cultural related. In Asia, it's much more acceptable use like kind of character brands in your t-shirts and stuff like that. But actually in UK and US as well. But like in Finland, I'd never put Mickey Mouse here, or I rarely used Angry Birds t-shirts or anything like that. It's not that I hate it. I kind of love that stuff, but it's not my style. I wouldn't use it that much myself. But I know that young kids would. So that's the thing.
What do you think? Would you sort of like recommend that anyone can do licensing, or is it just
no.
always about the effects of the product and the brand? Or
I think not all brands should think licensing. To be honest,
kind of brands?
it's all about how you see your brand. If you wanna focus on building the best games, and I think that's a really good goal already. Like,
so you think the brands who are doing licensing are not good games, or?
I think they're good games, but they're seeing themselves more or less as entertainment brands. Maybe it's all about how you wanna see yourself. I would say.
What do you see the biggest risk in licensing?
I'm actually getting there. I'll get. So when it comes to brand management, okay, you need to know who you are, but then you need to think how big you wanna get. Again, like we are working with some mobile game studios, and everybody's asking, "Are you gonna get us everywhere?" Like Rovio, because Rovio is our former employee, and that's like especially in Finland, everybody sees that as an example. No, we're not, because we don't actually need to. You don't need to be everywhere. You need to be where your audience is, I think. So I think licensing is also a really good way to get your brand really boring. It's actually a way to destroy your brand. In a way, I think like if you got a brand and you wanna extend its lifespan, increase the awareness, you should do things with your brand, like things that you feel fitting. But in the end, more you do, more you get closer to the tipping point that it's actually harming your brand. That's my opinion about it. That I think everybody should, when you wanna especially these days, when you're releasing a game, you got people playing it, there's people know about it. I think you should do something. It doesn't have to be licensing, it can be some marketing stuff, it can be some collaborations, co-branding, whatever. But I think you should do something if there's people who really like that brand, if there's awareness around that brand. But I think you should also think how much you're gonna do. Because in the end, if you see something everywhere, you get bored. That's a fact. And my take on that is that you should focus doing things for your audience only, and really like keep the size in a level that you can manage it. Because when it gets too big, it's unmanageable.
I think what you said is important, that it's really about the fans. So if your game or your brand has fans and you think there's enough of them that they are willing to extend their fandom to a product, then that's when you have an audience for your licensed product.
Yes, exactly.
And you figure out what is the product that the fans maybe they don't even know that they want it, but there's already some kind of movement around it. But also one thing that is kind of interesting, we've discussed this a million times. For example, Moomins is a totally over-licensed product, but nobody thinks that because it's so you're so used to it that it's fine to have the dishwashing liquid and the paper plates and everything. Prisma is full of Angry Birds and it's full of Moomins, so you can get both in any size and shape. But Moomins have been there for so long that you're kind of used to it already, and games definitely haven't done it yet, so it's pretty interesting new landscape for them.
Yeah, no, actually Moomin is a good example. I know Rolef Krakström, he's like his CEO there on Moomin side. He said quite well actually that if you think Moomin, they haven't done anything new in 20 years. How are they keeping their brands alive? Through licensed products, and licensed products only. They got the same animations going. Okay, actually they got new movie coming, so that's cool. But in the end, all they do is license. They got 8 people working on the Helsinki office, and all they do is that they manage their brand. They say yes to these kind of things, no to these kind of things. And that kind of awareness is like keeping the brand alive. Actually, I can talk more about Moomin. I got one example of that I can use. But then again, if you're like thinking licensing, a licensing is brand extension. I kind of hate the word extension because I kind of think it should be all about the same experience. You got your brand or game, and then it's all about the experience and what kind of things you want to build around it. But this is again, we talk with so many mobile game studios and they go, yeah, we got this cool game we're about to launch. Should we think licensing? No, don't. Think about launching a best game ever you can. I think you should, if it's about the new, if it's brand new game, it's like you are launching the game or new IP. If it's kind of spin off the existing IP, then you can think using licensing already together with the game launch. But if you're launching a new game, I think you should concentrate launching the best game possible. Then when you've launched it, you should think how you actually gonna keep people playing, how you actually create awareness around that property. And then when you've done that, then you think about utilizing that awareness through licensing, for example. If you want, it's a decision. You can do some other stuff as well. But if you wanna do licensing around mobile game brands, I would say that focus on launching a game first. Of course, you can think licensing. It's all right, but think about making a game, getting people to play it, get people to love it, and then you can think like if you wanna utilize the awareness that you are creating somehow. The next one is actually the most complicated slide I've ever done in my life.
That's from Star Wars, right?
Yeah, it's Star. And you can see Luke there.
Why we?
But again, if you think that, okay, yeah, cool, I want to utilize that awareness through licensing, then you need to think about who you are, cool, and then where you want to utilize it. You want to make coffee. You need to think like who are your fans and what kind of products you could actually make for those guys. So and then think like, how do those two fit together? Is there actually something that your players would want? Is that something that they would use? Because if you do a mistake there, it might be that they get confused. Okay, I don't know what they are doing. I'm gonna do something else. Go play some other game or something like that. And I also always say that, yes, if you think licensing, don't think just like one random product, but think concepts. This is so happy it's not a mobile game, but I kind of like that as an example because it's cool. So that's their licensing program. They got hoodies, they got some paper products, they got shoes, some small figurines, but all those work together. So it's all about if you wanna do this, if you know you wanna do this kind of products, you don't think just random products, but think how they work together. What's the whole concept around that thing? Then I got one example left. It's not mobile game related, but it's kind of like it as a best example of what licensing can be, or the best example I actually came up. It's not this, it's gonna be next. I'll actually get back to this. Everybody knows Converse, right? It's actually almost 100 years old brand, and they've had that same Converse All-Star logo or badge there since like 1932, which is actually quite cool, because I think like the biggest enemy for any brand these days is time. Who's gonna survive time? Moomin, like Maria said, they've done it quite well. They do it with licensing. But Converse as well, it's kind of always cool. When I bought my first pair of Converse, my mom said, okay, I had those similar kind of shoes back in the days, and she laughed. Okay, actually I can see some here as well. But how do Converse keep them fresh? How they keep them like so popular, like that everybody, all the new generations, they think Converse is cool, Converse is trendy, all that kind of stuff. One thing is that they use licensing quite a lot. Basically Converse, every time there's something happening in the pop culture, something like some new content for Simpsons, AC/DC, anything cool that got fans or anything like that, they are most of the time collaborating with those kind of properties. So they're actually buying licenses in. So for example, Simpson, they have given Converse Simpson license to actually do Simpson Converse shoes. Kind of co-branding collaboration, but in-end licensing. They also use kind of trends. If there's like some pink leopard stuff going on some summer, it's really hot, they kind of leverage that to increase the awareness around the Converse brand. And what do they do with that kind of awareness and stuff? Like, they got so much awareness around that brand that they actually leverage it by licensing it out. If you see any Converse packs or anything like that, those are licensed products. They don't do those themselves. There's so many companies making Converse products out there. So basically they are building the awareness, the kind of coolness, kind of, I don't know what's a good word to describe it, but they kind of license it out to some other Converse products. Now I can get back to this and the Moomin example. So normally when there's licensing program, there's one product that program is known for. If you think Moomin, what would be the first product you would probably think?
Mugs.
Exactly. So Moomin, they are known for Iittala mugs. That's kind of the cornerstone, that's kind of the image product for the Moomin licensing program. They are really focusing on those, and they also really like protecting those products. They're always like renewing them and all that kind of stuff. But Moomin, they actually got 450 licensees, the companies who make Moomin products. But you don't actually see that. every time you think, I think people think like moving products, they see Iittala Mac maybe, because it's kind of creating the. Some people call Halo products. I know in Rovio there's one girl who used to actually talk about that, but yeah, it kind of halo around the whole licensing program. So it doesn't matter what other products they do that much in the end. Okay, they've been doing it so long that if you see like some bit crappy moving products on the shelves, you don't really think it too much. Yeah, that's usual. But they still got that cool Iittala Mac that everybody wants. What they also do, like this is actually good year to talk moving because they got this Tuve celebrations, Tuve 100 years, whatever, and they got like collection of product around that. So they're actually keeping the moving brand fresh through those kind of products. But those are what you really see. In the end, those 450 licenses, they're doing toothpaste and toothbrush and candy and all that kind of stuff. And moving are doing really well because of it. They are like all those products kind of increase the awareness for a brand. They keep the brand alive. But in the end, it's not what you think of when you think moving products. You only think like that Iittala Mac. And same thing with Converse, for example. This is what they focus. That's the most important thing. They keep it fresh with all kind of cool promotions or co-branded collaborations, all that kind of stuff. But in the end, they're doing lots of money with just licensed products. You don't really think about it. Okay, somebody got Converse back, that's really cool. Yeah, I think so too. But in the end, it's just a licensed product. It's increasing the awareness, it's generating royalties, all that kind of things. But it's in the end, it's licensed product and its purpose is mostly increase the awareness and generate royalties. But again, I think licensing is when you use it right, it's really good marketing and brand building tool to increase the awareness, to extend the lifespan and actually generate some royalties. But you really need to think what you are doing there. You need to think that who you are, what kind of who's playing your game, and what kind of things you could do for those guys. That's it. Thank you.
I know everybody's interested in here. Can you talk about royalties? What's the cost structure? What is the structure of the license owner and licensee? And who gets the money?
She's actually sorry about that. She's actually the last person I thought could ask that kind of question.
I know they would want to hear. I know a bit of it, but
Okay, so basically when you when you license your brand, you wanna make Angry Birds mug. So the company, let's say I'm making this kind of mugs and Maria's representing Angry Birds here. So she's gonna give me a license and she's gonna get money or royalties out of every product sold. So let's say this would retail in 10 euros. Or let's say this would retail in 20 euros. And the wholesale price would be 10 euros. And there would be 10% royalties. So Maria would get 1 euro per every mug sold. That's how it works. On the licensing deals, there's normally like advance payments and guarantees and that kind of stuff. But in the end, you can ask like 1 million in advance or in guarantee, but you need to think what it means, because if you're, for example, just launching a brand, would you like to see this in tarjoustalo or in stock money? All the cool kids say stock money, of course, but then you need to think that how much money you're actually asking for that license. If you're asking 1 million USD, then you're probably gonna see the product in tarjoustalo, because they need to sell hell lot of products to give you 1 USD per mug to actually, they need to sell 1 million mugs to actually be able to give or guarantee Maria here 1 million USD as licensing royalties. So, but if you wanna see this in Stockman, you wanna like it to be on a cool placement, you to actually increase the awareness on cool awareness of your brand. You might want to not ask that much money, but ask them to do really cool mock. Really focus on doing a really cool product. So, but that's how it works. You get royalties out of every product sold. It's really cool because if the brand is so popular, you're probably gonna sell a hell lot of products. And if it's not, then well, not too many products, you're not gonna get rich. But in the end, it's like it probably not gonna destroy your brand if it's on the right placement anyway. So, what else? Did I?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Right? Answers most people's question on money, I think. Because I find it quite surprising that the royalty is so low. Like you own the brand, but you really don't get much out of it. To be honest, like it's a tiny thing, and rest of the money goes to everybody else in the value chain.
Yeah, but in the end, it's again like, why are you licensing? If you're licensing just because of money, you need to do lot of products. You need to do many deals, too many deals. But if you think that you're licensing it just because of to increase the awareness, do some cool things for your fans, actually to be able to extend the lifespan a bit, then you might think it other way around. Like most of the gaming companies, for example, Fingers of one of our clients, they don't really need licensing revenues, to be honest. They couldn't care less, but they want to do some cool products. They want to do some cool things for the audience. And we are fine with that, because in the end, we are working as an agent, so our model is like revenue share. So in the end, if they are doing cool in a long term, we are doing really well as well together with them. So, and also like at least I sleep much better when I know that I'm actually doing some bit more meaningless things than just some mass market products for somebody.
So 10% actually realistic, or?
That's, well, this kind of products I would ask 15. It depends on category. If you like talking like candy, then it's much less because it's huge volumes. But if you're talking like t-shirts, then it's 12 or something like that.
Yeah, I have a question. So if Fingersoft uses you, you will also take cut.
Yes. Basically, we are working as a normal agency model. So actually, working with us doesn't cost anything to the brand owner initially, because we take our like commission based on the licensing revenues. We also do consulting, all other kind of stuff, but that's kind of our main business. And in the end, it's working quite well, because most of the mobile game studios might not want to build their own licensing teams. I think some companies should actually do it that way, to actually build their own teams. But I think for some companies it works really well. For example, with Frogmind guys, that they actually just working with us. In the end, we are together in the thing, and it's not like we are just using them or other way around. It's because it's win-win situation for both parties. If everything works out well, everybody wins, and if not, then like everybody loses. So it's like, in the end, what we can do, we can really like help them to build the brand, increase the awareness, do some really cool things for their fans, and well, they seem to like that. So it's been going really well.
What if it would be upside down? If there would be some nice product and you want to make a game for it, is it like what in that situation would you do? Would you say that okay, we make a game and you get 5% of the revenue?
I'm not actually sure if I understood. If there's cool product out.
Product, like not the game.
You would like to make a game for conversions or something?
Oh yeah, okay. Actually, we are getting lots of inquiries like that, because we know quite a lot of people outside Finland, and everybody sees that okay, there's best games coming out from Finland. We are always getting these kind of inquiries. Do you know some guys who could make this cool game? So if there's people interested in that, yeah, of course we can hook you up. But also like I think what is so great in Finland right now is people actually focusing and creating their own IPs, not just like making some okay, if somebody wants to make Looney Tunes game, I can make it happen for you. But again, would you rather do something on your own than with Looney Tunes or some other brand that they're gonna pay you like 100,000 and you get to IP and then you, in the end, you won't get anything. So, but let's say that there's lots of companies interested, and I also know that in Finland there might be some kind of stuff around that happening as well quite soon. So I think in the next few months you're gonna see some headlines that there's some Finnish gaming company that actually did some cool game for some other IP.
I think it came out like 2 years.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, it came out already. Okay, well, okay, Walking Dead, then next game. I don't read news, so that's probably. But again, yeah, I think that's cool. I like it. But they also bring, creating their own stuff, so. Cool guys. Anything else? Thanks.